Let's go to Parliament, where the minority there is disputing government's claim of a successful restructuring of $1 billion of debt owed independent power producers. Finance Minister Dr. Mohammed Amin Adam yesterday announced the government had completed negotiations with the IPPs, providing fiscal space for an improved energy sector. However, the minority says there is no agreement yet. John Jenapo is the ranking member on the Mines and Energy Committee.
Government has failed to meet its side of the bargain by making some bulk payments that would trigger these agreements. That is to say, there are some condition precedents that government ought to fulfill, but this government has failed to fulfill that. So, unfortunately, once again, this so-called restructuring of IPP debt, nothing but a charade. In 2020, government borrowed 3 billion of Eurobond and promises that they will use $1 billion to restructure IPP liabilities. As soon as government got the money, they misused and misapplied that money. Our latest check indicates that that money cannot be accounted for. Anytime the NPP tells you they are restructuring or renegotiating any energy sector contract, it ends up being bloated, it ends up causing serious liability. This is the time for the president to swallow his pride, for the head of the economic management team, Dr. Baumia, to swallow his pride and call for a national dialogue on the state of Ghana's economy. This pretense, wishy-washy arguments, and trying to obfuscate the real facts.
My colleague Charles Owusu-Kumi is in Parliament for us and has joined us live for more on this particular story. Charles, thanks for joining us. Tell us exactly what happened in Parliament today.
Well, aside the minorities ranking on the Mines and Energy Committee, John Jenapo, disputing the Finance Minister's claim that they have reached some agreements with the IPPs on some $1 billion debt. Katie Hammond just laid his legislative instrument essentially to regulate pricing and production of cement. We know that he's been quite vociferous about and determined about laying this legislative instrument to regulate the production and pricing of cement. That has just been done. There were fears earlier that business of the day would be interrupted because the minority were going to boycott because we know that for some time the minority have decided not to come to the House because of the leader, the minority leader, Dr. Accuses, who is currently facing trial for allegedly misconduct in the procurement of some ambulances. So on Tuesdays, on Thursdays, which are the trial days, the minority have been boycotting Parliament. And so the majority leader on Friday mentioned that there had been some agreement for both the minority and majority to be in the House on Tuesdays and Friday and Thursdays because proceedings were going to begin. Sittings were going to start after 3 p.m. But we waited after 3 p.m., 3:30 p.m. The minority were not showing up in the House. And so there was some difficulty on the majority side. The Speaker, First Deputy Speaker Joseph Osei-Owusu, who is sitting in today, raised concerns about quorum. And while those discussions were ongoing, the minority members began trickling in because we're told that at the time at 3 p.m., the Atuforcing trial was still ongoing. That was the reason why the minority members had not come to the House. So currently, business is ongoing as usual. The MPs are on the floor and discussing the day's business.
Thank you very much for that update. My colleague Charles Owusu-Kumi is with us here in the Channel One newsroom, and we'll be updating our viewers in CNR at 8 p.m.